Number 1. Of the three, one was a trainer who burned her with a lit cigar when he was drunk, and the other two were keepers who struck her with a pitchfork. In 1875, Topsy the elephant was smuggled from Asia as a baby, and brought to America to perform in the Four Paw Circus. She was the star of the show, but behind the curtains and big top tents was a much darker reality. Circus animals were treated with utmost cruelty by the trainers, and shockingly it was common knowledge and even encouraged. Training methods included beatings, burning the flesh with hot pokers, and even firing at them with guns to make them obey. Topsy would not take this, however, and began to gain a reputation for lashing out at trainers who mistreated her, even killing them in the process. No zoo would take her because of this, and the decision to euthanize her was made. This presented a massive problem. There was no effective way to kill an elephant of such size. Topsy stood 10 feet tall and weighed 3 tons. The owners of Luna Park turned to Thomas Edison, who in 1903 had gained a powerful presence in the media with his electrical inventions. By then, Topsy had been branded as a killer, rightly being condemned to death, so when the date of execution came, people watched. In full view of the American public, and taped on the newly invented movie camera, Topsy was electrocuted to death by Edison's team on January 4, 1903. Number 2. Silphium was cultivated in the oldest Greek city in North Africa, Cyrene, now Libya. Its resin was used in food as an additive, as an ointment, a balm, a remedy for several illnesses, and most commonly as a natural contraceptive. Silphium became so important to the Cyrenians that they stamped its picture onto the currency. Researchers speculate that the herb was so effective as a birth control that the Romans used it to the point of driving the plant to extinction. By the end of the era, silphium had become so rare and prized that it was worth its own weight in silver. Number 3. Yet another horrifying chapter from World War II. Stalin's canine killers were trained specifically to deploy bombs under Nazi tanks on the battlefield. Apparently, the initial plan was to equip the dog with a remote control, or a cord that could be used to pull the trigger from a distance. Military expert Yuri Veremeyev explains how this was accomplished in an interview with Daily Mail. The Soviet army used of the most basic instincts, hunger. The dogs were kept without food for a while in cages, then hot food was cooked and put underneath the tanks. Attracted by its smell, dogs ran under the tanks, and quite soon they learned that this was the only place where they could get the food. Very soon they were taught to get under the tanks when engines were on, and during the battlefield sounds imitation. When the dogs were too frightened to successfully do this in actual battle, the Russians grew desperate and strapped the explosives to the dogs themselves. This destroyed the morale of the soldiers, who opined that they did not want the indiscriminate killing of dogs in addition to the men who were already dying in war. Replicas of these anti-tank dogs were installed in Moscow's Red Square in honor of the sacrifice. Number 4. In his time, Vlad the Impaler had gained notoriety for implementing gruesome methods of killing. These included the usual impalement with hard, sharp spikes, disembowelment and beheading, even skinning and boiling. No one was exempt from his torture, and Vlad sometimes killed his own people. Vlad's most famous execution spree was after winning a battle against the Ottoman Turks. He impaled every single one of the 20,000 soldiers on spikes and propped them on the banks of the Danube River as decoration. Known to history as the most terrifying, cold-blooded ruler that ever existed, Vlad the Impaler went on to inspire a myriad of antagonistic and downright monstrous characters in literature, like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Thank you for watching, and please do not subscribe.